Alright, guys. It is Wednesday, November 8th, 2023 at 11:20 a.m. Let's start with a Bible verse of the day from dailyverses.net. It says, "The Lord is compassionate and gracious, slow to anger, abounding in love." Psalm 103:8. Alright, guys, let's start. We have some power outages happening in Australia. It says the chaos of the power outages disconnects half of Australia and millions affected by Australian power outages. Some services are being restored after millions affected. Let's go to the article. It says Optus outage. Millions affected by Australian network failure. Millions of Australians were left without mobile and internet after a network failure in telecoms firm Optus. The failure caused transport delays, cut hospital phone lines, and shut down payment systems. Optus. I keep thinking Optimus, but it's not Optimus Prime. It's Optus. Optus. Optus, the country's second largest provider, said more than 10 million people and thousands of businesses were affected. Services were restored after around 12 hours of disruption. Optus said there was no evidence of cyber attack. The firm blamed a technical network fault and said more time would be needed to investigate the root cause. It says Wednesday's disruption reported around 0400 or 1700 GMT. It took until around 1800 for services to come back online. Kelly Bayer Rosmarin, the company's chief executive, said it had not yet identified what went wrong. People across Australia were unable to call emergency services and critical helpline numbers. Train services in the state of Victoria were also temporarily crippled. Alright, guys, they may say that there was no evidence of a cyber attack, but it gives me all the symptoms of a cyber attack. It's showing me all the symptoms of the cyber attack. A technical network fault that can't be identified, and they're trying to investigate the root cause. I agree with Miss Lisa Boyce from Watchwoman65. She pretty much said the same thing, that it sounded like a cyber attack, and if it looks and sounds like a duck, it might as well be a duck. Alright, guys, chaos and Optus outage disconnects half of Australia. For one talkback radio caller, the first sign something was wrong with Australia's second largest internet provider, Optus, came when her cat's Wi-Fi powered food dispenser failed to serve breakfast at 6:10 a.m. and her pet woke her. For disability pension, Chris Rogers, who needs painkillers for a knee injury that prevents him from working. The problem became apparent when he drove 30 minutes to the pharmacist and his electronic prescription could not be filled. Because of the outage, it won't load, Rogers told Reuters while he was waiting for the pharmacist for the internet to return. Reception is flat out crazy. I've never seen such chaos. For millions of Australians who could not pay for goods, book rides, get medical care, or even make phone calls, a 9-hour near total service blackout from the company which provides 40% of the country's internet became a lesson in the risk of a society that has moved along entirely online. In the next 3 years, in 2022, Australian cash transaction half to 16% as pandemic restrictions sped up a long-term trend towards so-called contactless payments. According to the Reserve Bank of Australia, 1/4 of the country's doctor appointments and online by phone government data shows we are so very reliant because of COVID and telehealth and also electronic messaging systems, said Michael Clemens, Rural Chair of Royal Australian College of General Practitioners. This reality has many people that they just missed out on care. Optimus, which is owned by Singapore Telecommunications, gave no explanation to the outage except to say it was investigating it. Most of its services were restored by the afternoon. Alright, guys, so that's what happened in Australia. They're still dealing with the chaos that came from it. Please pray for them as it is getting crazy. Alright, guys, so being disconnected from internet and having everything online, it can pretty much cause a lot of chaos. And if Australia is really trying to go cashless, they had to, as some people had commented, they had to basically rely on cash. They had put signs on the Australian shops saying that they needed cash only because the internet was down. So when you try to go cashless in that society, that just is craziness. Alright, guys. Blood Red Skies and Steve cover parts of Europe during double blow geomagnetic storm. As you see here on the right hand side, there's images of red skies from the Aurora Borealis over Europe. Why I find this interesting is because somebody had commented that the last time there were red auroras was before World War II. That same thing had happened. Auroras that were blood red over Europe. So that is quite spooky. Alright, guys. At least 150 dead after a shallow 5.6 earthquake in Nepal. Please pray for the people of Nepal. Alright. And then on November 2nd, out of control Southern Californian Highland Fire forces evacuations as it explodes to 1,200 acres within hours. So please pray. Alright, let's take a look quickly at this channel, Daily Events Worldwide. Follow them, make sure you do. They have great information about Earth things that are happening. Okay, so a day ago, they posted, the Daily Events Worldwide posted, winds are going the wrong way. The winds over South America below the equator are going the wrong way for this time of year. So that means that the winds that usually go from west to east over South America are now going from east to west, and the winds are going the wrong way. Alright, so check out that channel, Daily Events Worldwide, and you can see their video here. Winds are going the wrong way, and you can check that out. That is quite creepy that is actually happening. Alright, guys. Let's take a look at some articles. It says 30,000 pounds of Tyson Fun Nuggets hit with recall over metal shards. Tyson Food had issued a recall of 30,000 pounds of Fun Nuggets, fully cooked chicken product targeted at children, due to concerns over potential contamination from metal fragments. Alright, guys, so check that out if you in your fridge. If you have Tyson Nuggets, there is a recall. Alright. Netanyahu rejects Biden's phone request for 3-day pause in Gaza war as IDF tightens the noose. President Biden, in a phone call this week, urged Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to implement a 3-day pause in fighting. This was revealed by multiple sources in Axios on Tuesday, and Biden's request appears to have been rejected, given the call took place Monday, and Israel since has reaffirmed there were no truce until the hostages held by Hamas are released. Alright, guys, so I don't know if this talk about ceasefire and everything with the United States and Israel, I don't know if this is what's going to cause a separation for between Israel and the United States. Talking about what the Watchmen have been talking about, that something is going to cause the United States and Israel to get distant. That's one of the possibilities to what could cause the rapture, in the sense that Israel and the United States get distant, and then some war seems to happen, and then we get raptured. So this could be one of the possible outcomes. I don't know for sure. This is just an idea that has been talked about. Alright, guys. Let's talk about the next thing. Band Health fan favorite becomes the latest victim of Trudeau's Canada. Health fan favorite becomes the latest victim of Trudeau's Canada. The Trudeau government wants you sick. They want you to be dependent on Big Pharma. They want you dependent on their mRNA vaccines and their other drugs, and that they're all heavily invested. Warned Canadian oncologist and cancer researcher Dr. Williams Makis in a recent video. This is how they're going to get rich. Eventually, the government is going to take away all supplements, all healthcare products, anything that you're using to make yourself well and restore your health. How are they doing this? Dr. Makis asked. They're doing it by burying the natural health industry in regulation, he answered. And then they posted the regulations, and Trudeau's government strikes again. So I'll leave a link to all these articles in the description so you guys can check that out. But that is one of the articles that I found interesting. Alright, New York City struggles with post-COVID recovery as foot traffic falls 33%. Sidewalks lined with office workers, especially in lower Manhattan's financial hub around Wall Street and the Midtown area, home to Times Square, was pre-COVID phenomenon as remote work trends hamper New York City economic recovery. First reported by the New York Post, the University of Toronto has published new recovery metrics showing foot traffic in crime-ridden New York City is down 33% compared to 2019 before the pandemic, indicating a soaring economic recovery. Researchers used location-based mobile data derived from smartphones to reveal foot traffic trends in metro areas. They explained that recovering metro greater than 100% means the city's downtown foot traffic has recovered from pre-COVID levels and vice versa. So they are down, the foot traffic falls 33%. That could be a big hit for the tourist areas and the shows they do in New York City. The theater and acting and all this stuff. So that's kind of sad. Alright, next, central bank gold buying continued unabated in September. Central banks continue to gobble up gold. It says reported central bank gold reserves expanded by a net of 77 tons in September, with 9 countries buying a ton or more. With September's purchases, central banks added a net of 337 tons of gold in quarter 3. It was the second highest third quarter total on record, behind 2022. Alright. Next. Bill Gates backed metal company considering investing in mining in Congo. Mr. Saving Humanity single-handedly, Mr. Gates, reportedly backing a mining startup that is getting close to investing in the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is of course a nice way to say likely mining there. The company Cobalt Metals already is developing a copper project in Zambia, and Chief Executive Kurt House said the company has already bid for one asset but didn't close a deal. He told Bloomberg, "We think it's probably the best place for the world for the types of materials we're looking for." So Bill Gates has his hands in mining in the Congo. Alright. Next. Health favorites becomes the latest victim of Trudeau's Canada. I guess I put that in there twice. Let's go to the next one. Alright. New Delhi implementing driving bans due to polluted air. And more in a move that we're sure we'll eventually see in the U.S. cities as the climate change rhetoric continues to go parabolic, especially headed towards the 2024 election. New Delhi is now implementing a license plate-based driving bans in order to try and restrict the number of cars on its roads at any given time. The measure, which separates cars into license plates ending with odd numbers or even numbers is going to be put in place on alternate days of the week beginning on November 13th. Bloomberg reported this week. The goal is to lower vehicular pollution, the report says. In addition to the car ban, heavy vehicles have also been banned from the capital city, with exceptions for essential services. This is a big red flag. If this is what's happening in New Delhi, what could happen in the US if they do implement a ban of cars here in the US? Anything is possible, people. Alright, guys, I'll leave the article as well. Alright, next, New York City speed cameras have issued 4.5 million tickets, totaling hundreds of millions this year in New York City. For the first 9 months of New York City school zone speed cameras, almost 4.5 million tickets have already been issued, with fines totaling an astonishing hundreds of millions of dollars. The speed cameras in New York City now monitor and issue citations continuously, operating 24/7 throughout the year after a considerable enlargement of the program in August of 2022. That is spooky, guys. Alright, let's take a look at Space River News community tab, which I tell everybody constantly. Check out the community tab. If I can't make videos, I'm posting it in the community tab. Check it out. Alright, food recall for applesauce and cinnamon snack packages for Wana Bana. Alright, the Food and Drug Administration says a line of children's snack products are being recalled due to possible lead poisoning risks. The FDA said Wana Bana USA is voluntarily recalling its Wana Bana apple cinnamon fruit puree pouches due to reports there are elevated levels of lead in certain units of the product. Lead is toxic to humans and can lead to detrimental health impacts for people depending on their age and or health status. So it is really bad. Alright, guys, next. 10-day rainfall totals showing a dry area in Florida. Please pray for rain, and it is quite dry with reports of brown grass in some areas of central Florida. As you see here, these are the 10-day rainfall totals, and it looks like a big hole over Florida and parts of Georgia. So please pray for Florida and Georgia. Alright, guys. Earthquake in diverse places. There's earthquakes happening in diverse places. Let's take a look at the latest earthquakes. We have some earthquakes happening here in Texas, as you see, as I'm zooming into Texas. The latest one is a 2.9 in western Texas, but there are larger ones. Earlier today, I reported on a 5.3, to see here, 5.2 that downgraded it. It was a 5.3. That downgraded it to a 5.2 in western Texas. And there are other 3.2, 2.6, 2.5, 2.5, 2.8, 3.4, 3.5. So as you see, there's a swarm of earthquakes happening in western Texas. Alright, guys. So be aware if you live in western Texas or in New Mexico, as some of you might be feeling these earthquakes. Alright, there's also some earthquakes happening in California. As you see here, a little arch of earthquakes. We got a 3.0 in Nevada, a 2.7 in California, a 2.5 in California, a 2.5 in California, a 2.5 in California, and a 2.5 in Nevada. So you see a little arch there. That is pretty much California and Nevada earthquakes happening. Let's see, Alaska. Let's see. I'm trying to find the graphics that can show different magnitudes and everything. I'm trying to show all earthquakes in the area. Nope, that's not it. Alright, I'll find it later. There it is. Nope. Smallest, no, largest magnitude. Nope. Alright, so I'll find it later. The tab that will show all earthquakes during the day. But pretty much, there is Texas, California, Nevada. Let's take a look here in the western side. There was a 7.1. Did you see? Look at that swarm in the band to sea. Alright, so here is Australia, and then here is the 7.1 band to sea earthquake. But look at, let's zoom into all these earthquakes. Look at all these earthquakes. Oh my goodness. Alright, so this was 7.1, there was a 6.7, and a 6.7. There's multiple 6.7s, a 5.1, a 5.0, a 4.4, a 5.1, a 4.6, a 4.7, a 5, a 4.8, a 4.6, and a 4.6. There's so much happening in that area right now. Please pray for them. The area just needs prayer because wow, that is very active and very high earthquakes. As well as a 4.9 in Indonesia and a 4.7 in Mausohi, Indonesia. Alright guys, so this area is very active. Let's take a look at the Japan area. Alright, there's a couple below Japan. We have a 5.6 in Northern Mariana Islands and a 4.6 in the Mariana Islands region, and then a 5.6 in the Kursk, Russia area. Alright guys. I guess today is swarm day. Alright. Let's see, we have a swarm happening as well. Below Kyrgyzstan, next to Tajikistan. Look at the swarm. We have a 4.1 in China, a 4.6 in China. Is the border from Kyrgyzstan to Tajikistan, and then the border with China. A 4.3. Let's zoom in all the way and get all these earthquakes. A 4.8, a 5.4, a 4.8, a 4.3, and a 4.6. Alright guys, so that little swarm is happening. So I guess today is swarm day. Swarm day of earthquakes. Usually you just get a couple, now we're getting more. Alright, let's take a look at the Middle East area. We have a 4.4 in Azerbaijan and a 4.8 in the Iran border region. Alright, as well as a 4.4 in Western Turkey, a 4.1 in Marmara, Turkey, and a 4.5 in Greece. Alright, let's keep going. Alright, looks like Europe is calm compared to the Middle East region. Alright, and there was another earthquake in Texas. Let's take a look. You see a red one here. I don't know if that's the same one that I had seen earlier. A 2.9 in White City, New Mexico. Alright. Alright, so it's very active, as well as some in Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic, and some in South America. And one larger one by New Zealand, a 5.2 in the Kermadec Islands of New Zealand. Alright guys, so that's it for my video. I'll leave you guys all the links with all the stories I posted. This is a longer video, so for those that wanted more computer videos, here you go. Alright guys, stay prayed up, stay in Jesus, keep your eyes on Jesus. God bless you guys. See you guys next time.